Hello everybody, it's Tracy here from Energy Flows. We're going to be doing some videos and posting some exercises to help you figure out what your spirit animals are. So spirit animals, what are they? Spirit animals are spirit messages from the other side, whether it's a loved one, whether it's a message from your higher self or an answer to a question that you have asked. We choose our awareness level. We choose to be aware of spirit, and we choose to allow it into our lives. And that also goes for choosing spirit animals and allowing them into our lives and allowing them to teach us what their medicine is. Now, when I talk about animal medicine, I mean that every animal, every insect that you encounter is teaching you something. So teaching is their medicine. What are they trying to show you? What are they trying to get you to achieve for yourself? What reminders are they giving you? That's what animal medicine is, okay? So Native Americans and indigenous cultures all over the world have always been connected to nature. Signs from the Mother Earth are visible everywhere. They're reminders to live gently, being one with nature. It opens up our spirit link. And animals have always played a big part in our lives. They gave us food. They gave us clothing. They gave us shelter from the elements. We as a human tribe, and when I say tribe, I mean going way back, indigenous people and Native Americans, and there's indigenous people everywhere, not just America. We used every part of that animal. And there was great thanks given to the earth for that animal. I'm from a very large Native American area. So it's not uncommon, to see a Native American dressed in a bear head, wearing, a coat made from deer skins. And that's something that's still fairly strong in this area, is that, using everything and not taking anything for granted. And that has really changed dramatically with technology. We often don't see a need for animals, except as trophies or a pet. We can find them. We make it so their existence is very scarce, extinct. Really, if you think about it, we want them to be more like us. If you notice, every animal species has some sort of higher consciousness. Monkeys all over the world, if they find a banana, they all know how to peel a banana. Turtles all over the world, they all do the same thing when they lay their eggs. Their level of consciousness is, in my opinion, actually a lot higher than what the human consciousness is as a whole. And I do see that changing. But they're so concerned with themselves and their own families and what they have to do to take care of themselves. And us as humans, we're not. We're more concerned that, Mary down the street got a new car. One of the Kardashians, lost a ton of weight. We don't really look to ourselves and to take care of our own families and our own communities as much as we do communities that are far away from us and far, 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 far out of our reach. So spirit animals are often with us, and we don't even realize it. We collect their figurines, we wear their effigies on our clothing, we go to the zoo and we watch them. We go to the circus and we watch them. We drive down the street. When you drive down the street, you probably don't even realize that you see 10 or 12 different animal species. So one of the first things that I want you to do in this exercise is set the intention to open up your awareness to the spirit world, and specifically animals, as animals really do have a lot to teach us. Throughout this, we're going to talk about the difference between power animals, animal messengers, and how we can adopt an animal to help us with something that we're struggling with. So, as I said, the first exercise that we're going to do is I want you to be aware of animals for the next few days. Maybe it's different animals that are constantly popping up, on memes on Facebook. Maybe you're seeing 3 or 4 different elephant things. Maybe you see crows outside your house every day. Maybe you're driving to work and you see a deer and you really don't notice it. But maybe this week you do. You say, wow, look at that deer. It looks so graceful. I will tell you that I don't work with deer medicine, but a shaman friend that I know during a class, she had a deer bone that she had found when she was on a trip. And so I held this bone, and I've never felt an energy so gentle. And if you think about it, and I hadn't thought about it specifically before, when you watch a deer, they're so graceful, they're so quiet, they're unobtrusive. So maybe you happen to see deer grazing in your yard, and not in your neighbor's yard. That would be something to be aware of. And then throughout, this week of doing these exercises, I want you to look up what these animals are, the ones that you randomly see. And I want you to see if their message is something that can help you, whether it's a situation in your life, whether it's a lifelong situation that you deal with, a constant need of constant abandonment issue. Maybe it's a message that can help with that. And I want you to write it down. Get a notebook, get some paper. Even if you just rip off a piece of notebook paper and carry it in your purse, and then write it down. There's many ways that you can look it up. You can look it up on Google. I find the best thing to do is to type in the name of the animal and then spirit animal right after that. And you'll often get many, many links to different websites that will give you information. There are free and paid apps for your cell phone. There are books. This is one that I use. This is by Dr. Stephen Farmer. And it's just the Pocket Guide to Spirit Animals. It has a very brief description. And And some of the animal messages can really go into some detail about if you're getting this message or you're having this dream, this is what you need to pay attention to. One of my animals is, let's see, I'll open it up to the snake. I was born in the year of the snake. I'm a fire snake. So let's see. You're about to go through some significant personal changes, so intense and dramatic that an old self will metaphorically die as a new self emerges. And I can tell you that that is a constant theme in my life. You are going to feel a surge of energy that will sharpen your senses, alert your mental faculties, and open up a new channel of awareness. Absolutely. You're about to resolve a long-standing issue, one that has required a great deal of your attention, by seeing things in a new light. Again, in this life, I have had many recurring issues that have stemmed from lives past. So this is why the snake is one of my power animals. It would be a good time for you to start doing Kundalini yoga. Absolutely, my ultimate favorite yoga type is Kundalini yoga. You'll experience a dramatic and unexpected physical or emotional healing coming from unexpected sources. So, one of my power animals, as I've just read to you, I have a snake power animal. This is an animal that's always with me. This is part of my personality. It really has every single key point in my life so far. I can say, yeah, that's the snake. Snakes also have a tendency to be vain in Chinese astrology. I can be a very vain person. Just got to make sure that, I look presentable. One of my curses. So how do you find your power animal? I have very rarely picked up on power animals for other people. A lot of times what I pick up for other people are just messages that they need to hear. The best way to find your power animals, as we have three, in most traditions we have three power animals or totems that help us to, they define our personality, our clan. And what you can do is you can write down, on top of spending the next few days being aware of the animals that cross your path, you can think about, what was your favorite animal as a child? Did you have a stuffed animal, a favorite stuffed animal? If you went to the zoo, what was your favorite animal to see at the zoo? I actually do have a list here. Is there an animal that you have always loved and always collected? Owls. Love owls. Is there an animal that constantly crosses your path? For me, an animal that constantly crosses my path is the crow or the raven. I see them everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Is there an animal that you want to know more about? Are you inexplicably drawn to penguins for some reason? You didn't like penguins as a kid. You didn't see penguins at the zoo, but you just love penguins. Who doesn't love penguins? They're so adorable. Let's see. Do you dream of a certain animal? Dreams of animals are normally messages, just like dreams of loved ones are normally messages or visitation dreams. Dreams of animals are no different. This is an interesting one. Do people say that you remind them of a specific animal? And the best example I have of that would be there was a basketball player. I don't remember which team he played on, but I do remember my husband watching basketball. And there was this one player who reminded me of a lemur. I mean, he just had this look. He was very tall, very lanky. And I just remember constantly saying, like, oh, the lemur's playing. So maybe there's an animal that people say you remind them of. One of my other power animals is a cat. And I can be very cat-like. I can be very independent, very standoffish. Not because I don't want to be included, but because I don't know what your intentions are always. I love to be alone. I love to just kind of hole up with my fuzzy blanket and a book. And I'm content like that. I am perfectly happy like that. So maybe there's something in there, something in that list of questions for you. So let me read those questions for you again so that you can write them down and you can take some time to answer them. Is there an animal that you have always loved and collected? Is there an animal that constantly crosses your path? Is there an animal you feel you want to know more about? Do you dream of a certain animal? Is there an animal people say you remind them of? So once you've answered these questions, that's a good place to begin your journey. This again, if you have an animal that you answer this question about, I encourage you to read about it. I encourage you to Google it. And really get to know what its spirit essence is. Okay? And make notes about that. So let's say you're intrigued by spiders. And the spider's medicine is knowing that you're in control of your destiny and that you weave your future. Is that something that you're aware of? Or is that something that you're afraid of? If that's something that you're afraid of, that is a different type of spirit guide that we'll talk about later on in this series. It's also important to remember that there are no rules, okay? Once an animal presents itself, it may mean something different for you. So you may look up the energy of the snake, and you may read it and you may say, that does not mean anything for me. That's okay. Write down a little bit about what the snake means to you. Maybe you've had an experience with a snake that I haven't. So that message can be completely different. And that's okay. And that's encouraged to really investigate that and go into it and see what it means to you. I think that's it for today, folks. So do that, answer those questions, and do not forget to list any questions that you have in the discussion, either on the event page or on the energyflows.org page, or on the Energy Flows Facebook page. That's fine too. And we'll do our best to get those questions answered for you. Again, there are no rules. This is about you and about starting your journey on awareness and hanging out with the animal friends. Bye.